There's a particular sound that rises inside a boxing arena, a low rolling tide that swells before a storm. At the O2 Arena in London, that sound begins the moment Jermaine Franklin steps onto the stage lights and feels the atmosphere tighten around him. It's a strange feeling, the kind that says something big is coming, something familiar yet heavier than before. And then it happens. Deep in the tunnel, the cameras catch him. Anthony Joshua, head down, shoulders wide, walking with that slow, measured stride of a man carrying more than physical weight. He's 18 stone tonight, his heaviest ever, but the true burden sits deeper. 2 losses, questions about motivation, whispers of retirement. A career once shining now sits under a microscope, and yet the crowd erupts the moment the announcer stretches out his name, Anthony Joshua, and the tension turns to thunder. Joshua's eyes stay fixed on the ring, not the fans, not the noise, not the fate that hangs over this night. Across from him stands Franklin, the 989 assassin, a stubborn American technician who came to London once already and refused to break. Now he wants more than respect. He wants a signature scalp. The referee pulls them together, gives the instructions, waits for questions that never come. Gloves rise. Breath steadies. The bell is seconds away. And in that moment, the weight of Joshua's entire future feels like it's hovering above the canvas. This is not just a comeback fight. This is a man stepping into a judgment chamber where every jab, every slip, every second tonight will determine whether his climb back to the top continues or ends abruptly beneath the harsh lights of the O2. The opening bell slices through the noise and brings an instant sense of seriousness to the ring. Joshua stands tall, feeling out the distance behind a sharp, disciplined jab, while Franklin crouches low, slipping under the first right hand with veteran calm. It's a warning shot. Joshua can't simply walk through this man. Franklin's movement is clever, compact, built to frustrate. But AJ looks different too, composed, intentional. Each punch carries that thudding weight the crowd hasn't seen in months. A stiff jab snaps Franklin's head, followed by a clean 1-2 that sends murmurs through the arena. Franklin accepts the challenge, stepping in close, trying to smother Joshua's reach, pushing the fight into the spaces where big men grow uncomfortable. But Joshua holds the center confidently, doubling the jab, sliding in a left hook that glances just enough to make Franklin blink. The rounds begin to take shape. Joshua is patient, avoiding reckless exchanges, using his size and strength to dictate the geography of the ring. Franklin counterattacks in small bursts, bobbing low and firing sharp right hands that skim dangerously close to Joshua's chin. In these early moments, there is tension, real tension, because everyone knows how fragile heavyweight destiny can be. Joshua's heaviest frame in years gives him power, but it also tests his stamina. Franklin's slick evasiveness keeps him dangerous, but it can't win rounds on its own. By the third round, Joshua begins digging to the body, hammering in hooks that echo in the O2 like small explosions. Franklin responds with a crisp counter, but then comes the shot London has been waiting for, the signature left uppercut from Joshua, rising like a missile through the guard. Franklin takes it, nods, and comes forward again. And in that nod is the truth. This is no walkover. Tonight, Anthony Joshua must earn every inch. The fight moves into the middle rounds, that dangerous terrain where hard breathing begins and instincts sharpen. Joshua starts to look increasingly in command, snapping out heavy jabs that keep Franklin at the end of his reach. Derek James, new in Joshua's corner, shouts instructions. Step right, keep the angle, and AJ listens, subtly shifting his feet, cutting off Franklin's hook attempts. But Franklin is persistent. Every time Joshua lands clean, the American answers with aggression, dipping low, pressing forward, forcing clinches, making Joshua feel his presence. And then comes the bodywork. Joshua thuds in a monstrous shot to the ribs that visibly stiffens Franklin. The O2 reacts instantly, gasps rising in waves. Joshua follows with combinations: jab, right hand, left hook, jab, right uppercut, jab, jab, right hand. Variety, timing, discipline. The formula that once made him champion. Yet danger never fades. In the 7th round, Franklin unleashes his best moment of the fight. A sharp, cracking right hand that snaps Joshua's head and silences the arena for a breathless instant. But AJ recovers, reclaims the center, returns to the jab. There's no panic in him tonight, only poise. As the rounds progress, Joshua begins to look lighter on his feet, bouncing, smiling, nodding as he lands clean. Franklin stays in the pocket, refusing to break, firing counterhooks with stubborn tenacity. Every exchange carries weight, not just the physical impact, but the psychological battle between a former champion, rebuilding, and a challenger, chasing breakthrough glory. And while Joshua edges these rounds, Franklin's pressure ensures nothing comes easy. This is a test of discipline over chaos, of structure over grit. And Joshua, finally, seems to be calming the storm. By the 8th and 9th rounds, Joshua begins to separate himself with cleaner, authoritative punching. The jab lands almost at will, and each right hand seems to push Franklin a step further back. But Franklin refuses to fade. Every time AJ looks close to taking full control, the American fires back with hooks inside, with sneaky right hands that keep uncertainty lingering in the arena. Joshua's corner urges him to step on the gas, to apply pressure, but AJ sticks to his discipline, measured steps, smart angles, controlling the pace like a veteran who understands the stakes of fatigue. Still, the fight's intensity rises. Franklin needs a knockout now. Everyone knows it, and he fights with that desperate urgency, charging forward, throwing looping shots that whistle past Joshua's guard. AJ answers each surge with crisp combinations: double jab, straight right, uppercut through the center, left hook on the break. It's not reckless aggression, but calculated sharpness. The 11th round becomes Joshua's best display of his new form. He strings together sequences of punches: jab, jab, right hand, uppercut, left hook, that light up the crowd and remind them of the poised, destructive figure who once ruled the division. Franklin absorbs everything, refusing to surrender his pride, but the difference in class becomes clearer with every exchange. The referee must step in briefly as tempers flare in a clinch, echoes of Joshua's past battles resurfacing. Still, the final bell approaches with both men unbroken. Franklin knows he must gamble. Joshua knows he must stay disciplined. And as they rise for the 12th and final round, both men wear the marks of a fight that has tested them far beyond mere scorecards. They touch gloves before the last round, a small gesture of mutual respect that speaks volumes about the battle they've endured. Franklin charges forward, searching desperately for the punch that could rewrite the entire narrative of the night. Joshua meets him with patience, with control, with the steady hands of a man who understands that victory is no longer about destruction. It's about mastery. Still, with a minute left, Joshua uncorks the moment of the fight. A monstrous right hand that detonates on Franklin's jaw and sends a surge of electricity through the O2 arena. Franklin stumbles, legs dipping, pride holding him up where physics tries to drag him down. Joshua steps in, jabbing, probing, hunting for the finish without losing his shape. But Franklin survives, barely, defiantly. The final seconds become a furious exchange of wills, clinches, short punches, a final clash of stubbornness from two men refusing to step backward. The bell rings, and for a moment, time freezes in the echo. Franklin, exhausted but unbroken, tries to walk Joshua down, even as the referee wrestles them apart. The crowd roars at the raw, gritty competitiveness of the closing scene. Then comes the judgment. The fighters stand center ring, breathing heavy, sweat and effort dripping down their shoulders. The announcer reads the cards, 117 to 111, all three ways. A unanimous verdict. The climb continues. Anthony Joshua is the winner. No knockout tonight, no explosive finish, but something far more important. Proof that he can control a fight again, rebuild again, trust himself again. Franklin leaves with honor. Joshua leaves with momentum. And as he exits the ring under the lights of the O2, there is a feeling, a quiet, steady belief that the story isn't over.